What's up? Did you miss me? It's October. We've got a lot of cool plays this month. They're all there right behind me. I'll tell you about them. One thing to note though, I did not do what I normally wanted to do, which is right after I write the play, make a little video about the play. I think I did that for one of them total. So you will have to listen to me here tell you about these plays, just like I used to do. I don't know if it's going to be interesting. Let's hope it is. Without further ado, let's get into it. Play number 1 this month is called Envoy. Imagine this. You're on a forest path. It's a lovely day. Sun shining, birds chirping, animals chirping, everything chirping. Chirping away. Chirpy, chirpy, chirp. But all of a sudden, right in front of you, is a group of animals showing you a piece of raw meat. What do you do? Well, that's what I sought to answer in this play, Envoy, featuring 2 scenes from 2 different perspectives of the same event. It's about nature, it's about possession, it's about territory, and it's kind of fun, I think. Although you'll see from my friendship approval that perhaps it could be explored a little more. So let's get into these categories, huh? Number 1, pages. There's 4 pages in this and 560 words. I put themes, possession, nature, action, and it took me about an hour to write. I really enjoyed this one, but to be honest, I did write this quite late at night, the evening of my weekly deadline, so I definitely could have taken more time to make it better, but I didn't do that. Whoops. Prep and planning, there's none. Potential is medium. I put for comedy percentage 85% and drama 20%. It's not quite a dramatic piece. It's much more of a funny piece. And I think because in my head it will be an interesting visual piece. That's where I think the comedy comes from. And my friend approval rating comes from Rowan, who's a first-time joiner on our friend approval system. And Rowan said it's got an interesting premise, but it is missing context. I do agree with this, with Rowan. I think my ideas of it are quite fleshed out, but if you read the piece by itself, you might be like, what's going on? What do all these things mean? Why is this happening? You want some explanation. And that's what I think Rowan's getting at here, and I completely agree. It needs more information. But I also think visually, that information could be given without having it to be part of the dialogue or part of the text. Potential costumes, I think you should have this melding of modern costume with the human characters and this natural sort of elevated, I think maybe musical style where you have these animal characters being played by humans. So you have this anthropomorphic element, you have almost like in an opera where you've just got some indicators like little ears or some sort of furry coat, something to say, hey, this is this animal, even though it's being played by a human. That's what I think for costumes you could do. My favorite line is, "It really does," from Margaret. You'll see if you read it that Margaret has a lot of those lines, and I think they're quite funny. And my favorite character is Big, because I love whenever a character is named Big, especially if the character itself is not that big. Anytime there's a character named Big who is either really big or not very big, I love that. And you know what I didn't do is I didn't rate these. So for overall rating, I'm deciding right now, this one's probably at a 5. Not terrible, but definitely could use more context, more text, more description. Our next play is called Come As You Are. This one I also did not make a video for, so I can't throw it over to any other August right now, but I'll tell you about it right now. Imagine, I'm gonna start them all with imagine. Imagine you're having sex. And that's what this piece is about. Very subtle title, huh? I didn't get a friend approval for this one. I do have quite a few friends who were on top of reading these plays. However, just in the way that I needed to film this, I didn't quite get their feedback yet. So people have read it and they have thoughts, I'm sure, but I don't have those thoughts in front of me. So for this one, it's just going to be my opinions on it, which is always less helpful. I really rather prefer when I have a friend who can tell me what they think. But in this case, nothing from friends. So it's 5 pages, it's 834 words, and the themes are of intimacy and performance and perception. I'm going to take a quick sidebar to tell you about intimacy for just a second. This play kind of came about because I am currently trying to become more involved in intimacy in theater. Intimacy coordination, or intimacy direction as it's called in theater and film, it's a newer type of work that didn't used to be there. It used to kind of be up to the actors within it, or the directors, or historically the costumers would often make decisions in costuming that would affect intimacy. They were kind of covering that base. And like modern, the last maybe 20, 30 years, it has become a profession. People can work in intimacy. So that's coordinating intimacy in film would look like helping someone figure out how to stage a sex scene and make it tasteful and also safe. Most of all, safety is what intimacy coordinators and directors do. I have been training to get intimacy direction certification, which is kind of not a real thing. I don't know if I can fully go into this, but there isn't, because it's so new, there isn't one way to become an intimacy coordinator or director. There are some people who say that there is one way, but there's not actually a defined path. So it's kind of like a pioneer science. Before I continue, I just want to recommend something very quickly. This book by Chelsea Pace, Staging Sex. Very good book, very helpful for intimacy directors like me. I'm gonna put it up right back here. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. With all that said, this play has to do with a very simple, very straightforward sex scene that I wanted to try my hand at. It took me about 2 hours to write. A lot of that time I was just thinking about what the proper way to go through it is. It's also coming from my own perspective, and because of that I wanted to really explore these two characters and how they're different instead of how they both represent something about me. Medium potential, I think, because it could go further, but it was really just more of an exploratory thing for me in my own personal practice. 40% comedy, there's a few jokes. 70% drama, it's much more of a serious thing. And as I said, we have no friend approval rating today. Costumes, I think you should just do some sort of modern date night kind of wear, something formal, something maybe flirtatious, I don't know. That's not really up for me to decide. I think it's just something that we would have to ask the actors involved about how comfortable they would be and what they want to represent. Then my favorite line is shoot. They both say this. It's one of the only jokes that I added into there is just how they kind of have this little rapport between them about asking questions. They say, you have a question? Shoot. So they both say that, and my favorite character is both Mac and Alex. They're both very nice people, and I can't really separate them in my mind, so I'm going to say they're both my favorite character. And for overall rating, this was just sort of exploratory, and it's not really going to go much further, so I'm just going to put this one out of 5 as well. I don't think it's bad, but I do think it's not saying that much. You can determine that for yourself if you want to. It's going to be in the folder below. So, our next week, I actually did make a little video for. I'm going to throw it to a previous version of me, who will tell you a little bit about it. Hi folks, I'm back at it again with another week of doing less work than I should. Let me quickly explain to you the idea behind this play and the fact that, let me tell you, it's not going to be in the folder below. Unfortunately, I had developed an idea with a friend a while ago about a horror-based, kind of like a slasher story that focuses on different creatures of folklore and the paranoia that can come about when you're constantly being vigilant to prevent them from getting at you, and how that can actually be a bit of a bad thing if you go overboard with it. This one was supposed to be about a family and this knowledge passed on, sort of generational paranoia. I got about one scene into it in my draft. I got very ambitious, and as what seems to happen when I get ambitious, I get overwhelmed by how much I need to do and how little time I have to do it, that I end up doing very little. And that is a problem I'm noticing about myself that I'm going to try to change, I'm going to try to fix in the future. What the hell am I doing? Did you see the mustache on that guy? Not fair. I can't even grow a mustache. Lovingly titled for now, to be changed later, Folklorer. This is only scene 1. It's just an introductory scene. It's 3 pages, 648 words. The theme of the overall thing is going to be family and generational trauma, paranoia as well. It took me about 5 hours to write. I was sort of trying to chip away at this across the whole week, and I did spend a lot of time sitting and thinking about where it could go, but I will admit I didn't always write during that time. I'm giving myself 5 hours there. It might have been longer. I don't really know how much time I actually spent sitting and going, what should I do about this? Probably a lot. I did prep and plan for this one because I am writing this with a friend of mine who I'll not name, I think, just out of, just until we, make it better. We worked on the concept and the character work for quite a while, quite a few hours. I don't remember exactly how long, but we did prep this. We thought through what the play is going to say. But I just wanted to get this first scene down just so that it gives us a jumping off point, and then we can return to it later and actually build it up the way we wanted to. So potential is high, of course, because it's got so much left to write. This is scene 1 of probably a 2-act play. It's going to be quite long, hopefully full length. 30% comedy, 40% drama, just because the first scene, not a whole lot happens in either category. It's more of just an intro, a setup. So it could go either way, I'm not really sure. And I did get a friend approval for this one. We have Eric. He says he loves the dark twist and it's super colorful. In that instance, he's talking about it's very colorful in the descriptions and the setup. So I like that he enjoys it. I think Eric's being very generous here, but of course I will agree with what he says. I think it is a very nice piece, and it will build into a much better piece once I return to it. Hopefully I'll return to it soon. For costumes, I think it is a modern piece. It's going to be set modern day, but I think you can add some special flair in there, and just like any modern piece, I don't really want them to see them walking out in shirts and shorts. That would be kind of not interesting to look at. So I think the way I have it here, modern with flair, just means, build up, have fun. Costumers, you can really make these characters have unique styles. Favorite line is from an epitaph, which is, I think I'm using it correctly. An epitaph is when you have a little intro block of text before the actual piece starts, and I did write one for this one, and I wrote, "You must become a home inspector for the foundations of your behavior." This is kind of like a spooky themed piece, so I did want to write a section of it in October, of course, why not? And while I was doing that, I did really like what this piece says, especially in this line, about analyzing your life as if you're building a house for yourself. Whether or not I'll build on that in the actual piece, I don't know. For an epitaph, it does pretty well. It does its job. And favorite character, I don't think that's applicable yet because I haven't written most of the characters. I've only written 2, and they barely say anything. That's also why my favorite line isn't from somebody in the play, is because this first scene is mostly just people saying each other's names, and I don't think that's very interesting. So I will say this one's not going into the folder. I might have said that in the video before, but just because it's not finished and I'm writing it with someone else, I don't feel as comfortable sharing their work as I do my own unfinished projects and pieces. So that's what this one you won't see down there, because I don't want to spoil anything or I don't want to give away any of our concepts yet. And as for overall rating, it's doing a fine job. This one's also going as a 5. It's set up. It's all set up. It's doing a good job of setup. That's about it. For our last play, I'll have to tell you about this one too. I didn't film a video. In fact, I finished it just the other day. But this one, we have another big milestone. We have a big milestone for this one. This is our longest pages of any play so far. We've had 13 pages was our previous record. Now we have 16 pages. Hooray! And you'll probably see why. It's mostly dialogue, but there's also some full songs in there. I just wrote the lyrics in the piece. I didn't write the actual song, but I did, I like beat them out in my head just to hear them out, make sure they worked in terms of lyrics, but that's probably why it's so long, but it is our longest pages. So let me tell you about this play a little bit. It's called I Ain't Got No Destiny. It's about a young farmer. I think this could work really well as theater for young people, TYA as it's called. I think it could work really well for that because it's got a very simple moral, a very nice message, and some really goofy characters. And it's also a very clean play. It doesn't have a lot of swears or any like inappropriate things like that. I did use the word dumbass at one point. I think I'd have to rewrite that section and just remove that word and make it a little nicer if I did put this on for young audiences. But as it stands, this is a nice piece because it's got some music, it's got some nice messages, and it's a very simple linear plot. You can really follow it quite easily. 16 pages, 2,916 words. Themes of fate and exchange and duty. So I use the word duty a lot. In this sense, it's like duty more as an obligation towards utilizing talent. Play has kind of got this through line of a character saying, here's someone with a lot of talent, they must take that and turn it into something better. And then the character saying, I don't want to do that, I just want to work with my dad. That's what I like enjoy doing. So duty, but more of I'll change that because it's more like obligation. There we go. Fate, exchange, obligation. Took me about 4 hours to write. I got up earlier than my partner and I didn't want to disturb them, so I went downstairs and just wrote this while I was just waking up in the morning, and it did take quite a while. They had gotten up by the time I finished. Prep and planning, there's none. Potential is very high. I really think this could go somewhere, especially if I tailored it to a young audience in theater. I think there's a lot of room for growth, of course, but I also think because it's such a nice self-contained moral and message, it could really play well in a young audience format. 80% comedy, 20% drama. It's much more of a comedy than a drama. Lots of little jokes that happen all throughout, and the songs are also pretty silly, goofy kind of thing. Unfortunately, I did not get a friend approval rating for this one. I'll update it with one if I get one at some point, but like I said, I did have somebody who was looking at this one, but they just didn't get their feedback to me in time. And for potential costumes, I think you could go anachronistical or historical, which my partner would hate if I said that, but it's not a modern piece because it does have some elements of it that are like a little bit old-fashioned, but it's also kind of anachronistical in that the dialogue is very goofy in a way that's very modern. So I think for costumes, you could have these historical bases with some kind of funny little elements from modern time. I think that'd be funny, especially because I think the only mention of modern technology in the whole thing is refrigerator. I do mention a refrigerator at one point. I don't actually know when the refrigerator was invented, but cold storage has been a thing for a very long time. So it could easily play from very long ago, and it could easily play from now. I think it doesn't really matter what time it's set in. It's more of just how do you want to put the costumes. And my favorite line is actually a duo of lines. It's a response. So there's the maestro, who's kind of the narrator, who says, and so the boy sang a song. And then we have the boy, Hannah, says, I'm going to sing a song. I like that little confirmation almost, as in here's one, the narrator says something and then the character says it in a redundant way. To me, there's a little bit of comedy in that. And my favorite character, of course, is our main character, Hannah. Great character. I really like how I wrote this person. And for overall rating, I like it quite a lot. I think I could just adjust it a little bit better, but I'm gonna put this at a 9.5. I don't usually do points, but it's basically a 10. I just need to tweak it a little bit. So I'm just gonna put it very close to 10, 9.5. I think a very good rating. So there we go. 4 plays in October, which is also a big month for me. I had quite a lot going on. I'll explain in a second. As you can see, I've finally uprated the plays written to the actual amount of plays written that we have. So we've got 40 plays total. You'll see that we're on play 43, but of course 3 of the plays from a few months ago I didn't write. So we're actually on 40 out of 53. We're only going to get to 50 in the end. Hopefully I do get to all the way to 50, but you'll see that November and December are both going to have 5 plays each, which is usually a big month for me. Now, moving away from plays, I want to also give you a small sense of some other things that I was doing in October. The most exciting of which is what's called the 48-hour film project. This is something that happens all across North America in lots of different cities, lots of different regions. This year, it happened to fall across my birthday weekend. It's the 48-hour film project is a weekend. My birthday is one day in that weekend. So in order to, celebrate my birthday, get a little experience with film, and have a fun time, I invited people over to my house to write, film, and edit a 48-hour film project. We sent it to the Atlantic Canada 48-hour film project, and I went to the screening just last week, and I was very, very happy and lucky to see that my play won. My play. This isn't a play. It's a film. My film won one of the awards. There's of course Best Film, there's Most Atlantic Canadian, that's a funny one. And then of course you have Best Use of Genre, Best Use of Prop, and Best Use of Line. If you don't know about the 48-hour film project, they give you a few things that have to appear, like a character, a line, a prop, and some genres that you have to pick from. My film won the Best Use of Line award, and I was quite happy to see that. It was really a shock, a surprise. I was really happy about it. And because it's now finished at the screening, I can put it up on my YouTube channel, which I will. I've made a trailer and I have the film itself. It's about 7 minutes long. So soon enough, you should see both the trailer and the film get put on my YouTube channel. So look out for those. That is something that is really exciting for me, and I can't wait to share it with you. I hope you like the film if you do watch it. I'm getting more into film as of recently. I'm an actor and I try to be in film, but I haven't really had that many opportunities. So this was a great way to get myself an opportunity to make and act in a film. And also, it feels really nice to be acknowledged for all of that hard work. I'm really happy about that. It's really crazy that the last 2 months I've won awards for my theater and my filmmaking. It's in such a small span of time. It's blown me away. I'm really happy about it. I'm hoping that this means I can leverage it into bigger and better things for myself and a career that can sustain my life the way I live it. At this point, I'm rambling, I'm gushing. I don't really know how much else I have to say. Happy Halloween, of course. Hopefully I'll have this posted before Halloween. So enjoy your day, and I'll see you in November. Keep a lookout for that film. See ya.